Well, hi everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday afternoon, which means it's time for us to be talking about coping with feelings. And it definitely has yet again been a week full of feelings for me. I've had a lot going on, and I thought that I would take some time to share them with you. But also, I've got some great tips for you today in terms of dealing with your habits and how to look at them a different way, and also how to multitask in order to gain more time. So we're going to be actually working on that on all of the 3 broadcasts this week. For those of you who don't know, we do this broadcast, Coping with Feelings, at noon on a Friday, and then this is Pacific time. Then Friday evening at 7 o'clock, we do Coping with Life. And on Sunday afternoon at 3:30 Pacific, we talk about coping with stress. And so, the whole focus this weekend is going to be about have a look at your habits. And in fact, that might be a topic I continue to do as a regular feature. And I'll explain why as we go along. And first of all, I've got a really nice quote, I thought, about multitasking. And that is, a woman becomes a better multitasker when she becomes a mother. And for those of you who have been mothers or are grandmothers even, I think you will agree that you have to become a multitasker to be able to cope with everything. You have to learn to be able to hold a baby with one hand and stir the pot with another, and it's one of those things where I realized that my life was getting very busy because of all that is going on in it. And yet I know I've only got this amount of time. The time is finite, the 24 hours in a day. So if I want to achieve more, I need to slow down and focus. But on the other hand, I need to look at where can I multitask. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you who don't know, Dear Mama Sal is a group of people who get together, and we I just want to warn you that not all the comments are coming through, so just bear with me here. All right. So we're a group of people who get together to share our stories, because what we realize is that all too often in life, you think you're the only one that's got this problem. You think you're the only one that has these feelings, good or bad. You think you're the only one that needs to cope with stuff, and you're not. We all do. I don't care how rich you are or how poor you are. I don't care how tall you are or how short you are. The truth is, we all deal with feelings every single day. There we go. Now the comments are coming through again. Whew. Hi, Jenny, and hi, Jody. Good to see you both. And so it is the stories where we get the learning, all right? Because we all cope with them. I want to talk a little bit today about how multitasking changed my week this week. I want to talk to you a little bit today about my feelings of accomplishment, how I took major steps forward this week, and also some feelings of sadness. And by the way, for those of you who've been keeping track, in the book that is called This Year, we are already on chapter 6, being that we're in June. And I believe we're already on page 162, which means we're 44% of the way through the year already. Any minute now, we're going to be turning that page and go, we're on our way to Christmas now. So just be aware. Time is slipping away. All the more reason why we need to just be aware of doing things in a very constructive way. All right, so first of all, let me deal with the birthdays this week. I want to let you know that we have, let me see here, this week. Oh, by the way, we had on June the 9th, as far as I know, Jody managed to get to her 6th year cancer-free. Awesome. Well done, Jody. That's wonderful. Anna Marie had a birthday on the 9th. Jeannie is in for surgery today for her kidney stones. And for those of you who know Chloe in England, she has her birthday today. And in North America, it's Father's Day on Sunday, I believe. So just that should give you a little bit of an update on what's going on with the viewers. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Ginny's saying, my sadness feelings were around her grandmother passing. There is no way that we can say anything that makes that better, Ginny. And so what I'd like to know is, what do you remember most about her? What made you smile the most about her? What made you laugh with her? Because that's really what I would like you to concentrate on. One of the things when we have a loss is we get caught up in the sadness of it, which quite honestly is about us. Instead of thinking about the fact that I'm pretty certain she would not want you to be too sad. Now, grieving is grieving. You're going to need to cry and get angry and feel lonely and do all those things, because that's what grieving is about. It's learning how to cope without that other person. And I don't minimize that, because, boy, I've been through a lot of loss in my life. But, the way I turn it around is I limit the time that I can feel like that. I go, okay, I can have 15 minutes here. And then I need to get on with my life. Jenny's saying my accomplishment. Oh, you took that out? All right, then I won't repeat it, even though I can remember what it was. I don't have too many updates other than the birthdays this week. So if I've missed anybody's birthday, please let us know, because obviously it's not on our list. And if there are any major, major celebrations or anything in your life that you'd like to share with the viewers, let me know so I can add it as well. Feelings of accomplishment. I want to talk a little bit about what happened this week in and out of this discussion, where I had a meeting with the restoration people. That's been looming. And the guy from the restoration, the top guy from the restoration, came to see me this week. And I wanted to remind you that I've done everything I can just to go one step at a time with this, right? Not to push too hard, not to get too stressed out about anything, just to keep taking one more step. Oh, Jenny's now put that comment back again. And she's saying, my accomplishments were when I finished the 10-kilometer in Vancouver Sun Run in 2019. Well, I think I totally understand how far that is, because I did 5K in the BMO, and that was a long way in my view at my age. In fact, I think only 4 people over 70 actually did it. And I walked it. I didn't run it. I walked it. But I was happy to do it. So well done, Jenny. And maybe you will do another one. Anyway, so talking about this visitation from the guy from the restoration thing, I don't mind telling you, I was a little bit concerned about it before it happened, because would he agree with the things that I thought needed to be fixed? That was my big question. Plus, I think some of you have known that there is an issue with my wall-to-wall shower, that I didn't get what I ordered. And so that was another thing I was sort of scared about. Was I going to pay a bill for the shower and then get another bill for prep work and all sorts of other things? And so I've been quite sort of quietly stressed out about that meeting, because it required a lot of money going out of my account. But here's the good news. the good news is that he came, and it was such a pleasant meeting. And I sort of, when he came in, the first thing he did is he saw my carport with all the boxes and other stuff that was in there. And he said, okay, we still have to come and collect everything, right? Sal, I'm sorry, that all should have gone by now. And I said, I know. I said, it's okay. And then he looked at me and he said, by the way, he said, let's organize it, and he asked me what day. And then he said, and feel free to add things that weren't to do with the claim. I said, what? And he said, have you got anything you're trying to get rid of? Just huck it into the carport and we'll just tell them to remove everything from the carport. Isn't that nice of him? So that's how he started. He started by giving me something that I didn't expect. Now, don't you think that was smart? You see, what does that do? That immediately brings down my stress level, and he gets to be the hero. And we went inside, and the first thing I did was to show him that picture that I painted, when I was in the apartment while they were fixing my house up. And I said, I just would like you to know it is painted on a flap of one of your boxes. And he said, no way. And I said, yep. I said, I didn't have any canvases, but I did have boxes. So I just cut a flap of one of your boxes and used it as a canvas. And by the way, it looks great. All right, so Ginny's talking about the sun run. That's the, and she's saying it was run virtually this year because of COVID. Absolutely, I did mine virtually. And I got a feeling that they will probably do both next year. I think people like doing it virtually. It's, it's not all people want to be in that big crowd of people and have to, I mean, the professional runners, yes. They want to travel and do those sort of things, but I think your average person, just wants to know can they train and do it for themselves. So I believe that we will see more virtual races. And if you look, Jenny, online, there are virtual races all over the place nowadays. The other thing I wanted to tell you was that I found a really neat way of making sure that my restoration guy felt my pain on certain things. Now, I want to give you that example. One of the things I always believed about being at one stage of my life, I was pretty well known. But one of the things I believed in life, it's not what I say about myself that matters. It's about what other people say. It's really important. And the same thing, it's not what I feel. Because I can say to you, I don't like the way the dishwasher's put in. And, it sort of goes, okay, fine, But what I did was I said, I wonder if you could do me a favor. And he said, sure, so what can I do? And I said, I wonder if you could just open up my dishwasher for me. And he did. And I said, okay, now take out the bottom drawer or the bottom rack. And he did. And it started to shift and you could see him react. And I said, oh, never mind. Can you take out the top rack now? And when he took out the top rack, the whole of the dishwasher fell forward by about 6 inches, and he jumped. Now, did I need to tell him anything else? So I just smiled and said, get my point? And, I didn't need to tell him anything else. Why? He knows what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. Every time I try to use my dishwasher, it attacks me. You see, he felt it at a visceral level. He felt it inside because he got a shock. And therefore, it has impact. And I was just sitting there. And what I did was, I went to where something was wrong. And I said, I don't think that this wall had screeding before it was painted. And I said, if you look here very carefully, you can see that. And he said, oh, No, that would be just be there. And I literally went to all the different socket plates in the room. And I took him to them and I said, isn't it amazing that they did exactly the same thing then at this socket plate? And by the way, where this chip is, you can also see the wallpaper without screed. Do you understand? This room was not screeded before it was painted. All right, I've got questions from Jenny about the marathon. Hold on one second. All right, Jenny. Jenny's asking me, how do they know that you crossed the finish line when you do it virtually? Quite honestly, what you do is I've got a Fitbit that records the time, and I can take a screenshot of it. And so I knew exactly what my time was. And all they ask you to do is to put your time in, and they ask for a picture, and I did that. And you asked also, what did I get for finishing? I got a finishing shirt. And also, you get to, if you want it, you get to have the medal as well. So this is the medal, Jenny. Okay. And I think, I really do believe that, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that in a second, Jenny, in terms of how I managed to do that. Right, now then, so carrying on with the story about my feeling of accomplishment with the house, we ended up in my bedroom, and I've got this beautiful overhead fan and light in my bedroom. And when I moved back in a couple of months ago, it worked. But last week it got really hot, and I thought, I could actually do with that fan tonight. I went to try and turn it on, and it didn't turn on. And I did everything. I changed the batteries. I did all the things you can think of. And it just doesn't turn on. So when I got to my bedroom, I said, oh, here's the clicker for the light. Can you just turn it on for me? And he did, and he said, that's not working. And then he went to the light switch and did the obvious thing there, which is what I had done as well. Turned that the opposite way to see if it didn't work. No, that didn't work either. And, the good news was, he said, okay, that's a problem. And I said, I even went to the fuse box to see maybe the fuse had jumped or something, but I cannot find the reason why that doesn't work. That is beyond my pay grade. So, it was really interesting, the things that he came up with. And by the way, for those of you who remember how I keep my computer leads, he saw that, and I said to him, if you've got too many computer leads at home, charging leads and so forth, this is an awesome way to keep them. And he looked at that and he said, that is so smart. He said that, that literally takes up no room at all. And I said, I know. That's why I do it. And I said, because I've got a lot of leads. And the other thing I like about it, is all the ends are at one end. So when you want one, you can quickly find out which one fits the device that you're trying to find a lead for. He said, brilliant. Thank you. And I said, my pleasure. We went into the bathroom, and he totally knows that, that I didn't get what I got quoted for. And he said, don't worry, Sal, we've got it on our list. We're going to get that fixed. So I am still going to get my rain shower, and I am still going to get, what do you call it? A shower head that is a hand shower, so that I can clean. And what I was saying to him, old people can't clean the floor as easily as young people. Now, getting down there to clean that floor is more difficult. With a shower, it is easy to do. With a shower that you can move around, that's easy to clean. But without it, it's very difficult for somebody who's older. And I don't know if any of you remember, but I also had a problem where the two drawers in my vanity are only half drawers. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you. First of all, the first level of my vanity I thought would come out, and it doesn't. So the place where a woman would want to keep her makeup isn't available. You then go down a level, and those drawers are half drawers instead of full drawers. And I didn't know that when I picked it. And I said, if I'd known that, I wouldn't have picked this. And what I was surprised at, he said, hey, Sal, that's a carpentry thing. I can get somebody to make those drawers bigger for you. That was a surprise. I didn't expect that. And so that's what he's going to do. And when the whole thing was done, my whole feeling about it was that it was collaborative. I was not fighting him. Why? He is the head person, and I know that he contracts the work out to other people, and they in turn contract out to their employees. So what went wrong is not about him. It's about the trades and the trades people. And I said to him, what really confuses me is the front end of the house was beautifully done. Beautifully. I really have very few, other than the dishwasher sort of stuff, I have very few issues. But it was like from halfway onwards, it was a whole different story. And he said, different people, And I said, are they meant to have used my freezer as a step stool? No. I said, well, they did. And he said, how do you know? I said, there's a footprint on it. And he started to explain how it could have happened. I said, hey, I know how it could have happened. But here's the thing, were they meant to have done that? And he did say, because I said to him, there is still, a slight whiff of a body in my freezer. And he said to me, he smelt it, and obviously he's going to say that he can't smell it. But what he said to me, Sal, if it's still an issue for you, be honest, if it really is bad for you, you need to tell me and we'll have to replace it. And then he said, now about what was in there, because you remember that the power went out to the freezer and everything inside it rotted. He said to me, do you think that $500 would cover it? And I said to him, because I think you guys know me pretty well, I said to him, I have a bit of a problem with it. So he said, okay, so it should be more. And I said, no, I'm not sure if it was $500 worth. You know my integrity, right? And he looked at me and he said, so 500 would cover it then? I said, okay. He said, for the stress of it and everything else, and replace what was in there. I said, okay. So you understand, I commented that I thought it, that I was uncomfortable with it because I thought maybe it was a little bit too much. But if he carried on trying to give me $500, why would I say no? So that was really nice of them. They're going to do that. What, of course, will happen is that money will go towards the cost of the shower, will be deducted. Now, yeah, Jody's laughing at me, but Jody, you understand my integrity. When he said $500, I sort of stopped for a moment and thought, I don't think there was $500 worth of stuff, and then maybe $350 was what I was thinking. I didn't mention the number, but I'm thinking maybe $350 was what I was thinking. And then he just carried on. He could tell, and I said, I just have a problem with that, with my integrity. He said, yeah, so we've noticed that with you. Yeah, that's what he said, Jody, that was his sort of thing. Yeah, we've noticed that with you, right? Which is, you are really fair on both sides. That's, and he said that's not usual. And I said, that's interesting to know. Now, I want to go back to Ginny and the fun run. I have been quite surprised. My fear, and I just, wait a minute, before I finish, has there anybody else got any feelings of accomplishment that they'd like to talk about? And if so, start typing. And I'm going to just quickly talk about what I've noticed with my feelings of accomplishment around exercise. I think those of you who've been watching me for a long time know that around about September, I was doing about 2,000 steps a day. And then I decided to get the Wii, and I started to do 4,000 steps a day. And then I decided I was going to enter the fun run and needed to up my game to about 8,000 or 9,000 steps a day minimum to be able to do it. And so what has surprised me is after I finished the run, I thought that I would probably go back to doing about 4,000 steps a day. And I want to tell you that hasn't happened. And in fact, it is like my body tells me it needs to do more. It's really weird. I just want to show you here. You remember I was trying to do a full marathon a week, which is 56,000 steps a week. And that was the last week of May, where I actually, even including the 2 5Ks that I did, it ended up 54,000 steps that week. The following week, I still did 54.6 thousand steps. And this week, I'm actually, I think, ahead of the game a little bit. I'm already on 49.7, and I've still got 2 days to go. So isn't that interesting that I haven't become lazy again? What I've actually become is I've set the new normal. Isn't that interesting? And that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about how that happened. Jody is saying, and isn't this wonderful news? I received the approval letter for my surgery and hospital stay. That was a big step and a huge relief. Okay, so that's your insurance company saying that they will pay for it. And I know you've got one more test. What do you have? One more clearance you need to go through, right, Jody? And that's happening, I think, this week. So that's good to know that it's all paid for, and that is a huge relief to you, because that's that would have been a huge expense for you all. It's just, and again, Jody, look at how you've been taking just one step at a time towards this. All right, you've been on this journey. And Jody's saying my step count is increasing. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, what I said to Jody was that, she needs to, remember I got the walking canes, and I was saying to Jody that I really do find that I'm a lot more stable when I'm using those canes. And it's not that I necessarily go faster, but I feel more energized when I'm doing it. I feel I'm using more of my body because I'm not trying to protect the one side as much. And so I was saying to her that she may want to try it. And so, Jody, your step count is increasing because you're more safe. Hi, Jamie. Good to see you. Happy Friday to you as well. That is good to hear, Jody. And keep up the good work, all right? Because to me, it's about, we have a reason for not walking well. And, one of them is that we're not stable, or that the shoes are wrong, or, whatever it is. You will find that these little changes make all the difference. And also, let me ask you this, Jody, because it's the subject I'm about to talk about. How do you feel? How do you feel now that you've got a cane that you can walk with? That's the thing. How, you made one small change. All right. And Jody's saying it feels much more safe and supported. So do you feel like walking more? And now I know that when I go walking now, they call me the pole lady now, in the community here. I don't mind. They can call me what they like, but it's with love. Because it is, it's about that. Jamie's saying, I keep my Apple Watch on my upper forearm so I can calculate my steps during work. Why wouldn't you just keep it on your wrist? Interesting. Jody is saying when she has her cane with her, she feels like, world, get out of my way, here I come. Yes, you feel more confident. When you feel more confident, Jody, does it make sense you will want to walk more? Of course, Jamie, that is true. Jamie's saying the reason that she wears her watch on her upper arm is that she's a massage therapist and it would get in the way. Duh. I actually know something, Jamie. As I was saying it, I thought, I know what she does. I think I know the answer to this one. All right. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think a little bit. I want you to think about, I'm going to give you a situation, a problem. We're in the problem solver section. And what I want you to think about is, how could I create a habit that would help me, right? Now, for example, I wanted to sleep better, right? That was the thing. I wanted to sleep better. So what habit could I get into that would help me sleep better? And the reason I'm asking you like this is because I want you to see that it doesn't take a lot of change. It just takes a little. I want to make a note here. Of course, by the time I go to write the note, I'm going to forget what. Yeah, I did. I forgot. I'll remember again. All right. So if you wanted to sleep better, that was your problem. What would you change? What habit would you change? Because sleeping is part of your everyday. And I thought about it and I went, part of my problem is I'm a night owl. And I sort of don't finish my day until pretty late at night. And therefore, I don't start winding down until after midnight. And that means that I don't actually get to sleep normally before about 3. Hi, Nana. Keep busy there. And great to see you, honey. You always make me smile when you come on. Thank you. All right. So Jody's saying what I could do is create a routine, de-stressing before bed with medication, going to bed a little earlier. Yes. I thought about it and thought, well, what could I change? Because if I keep doing what I've always done, I'm going to have the same result. Makes sense. If I want to change a habit, I've got to change what I'm doing. So instead of going to bed at 3, I said, your goal is to go to bed by midnight. To actually, you meant meditation, not medication. Okay, my bad. All right, so here is the thing. I could go to bed earlier, but there was this little thing in my mind, which is that's the only time I get to watch TV or whatever, And I went, yes, but you can go to bed and watch, but you don't want to be sitting up and watching in your living room. You can go to bed and watch. Now, I think you know as well as I do that if I'm lying down and watching something, what are the chances I'm just going to fall asleep? And that's exactly what's been happening. And the other thing is that I can do some sort of meditation. What I also do is I have some sort of little games that I play on my tablet, which is part of my calming down a bit. And, it's amazing. I still spend the same sort of time at it, but I am much more relaxed by the time I drop into sleep. And Jamie's saying aromatherapy would help you relax and sleep. Yes. And that is one thing. Thank you. I realize I used to have an aromatherapy light, and that went in the junk pile with the fire. So that's something I will save up for and get another one of. Thank you for that. But anyway, it has worked. And Jody, you've seen that my sleep pattern has been much better. And I'm really, really happy about that. Okay, so let's take another one. Let's say that, I've got this beautiful new bathroom. And what I said to myself is I want to have it look like a hotel bathroom. Right? That was when I looked at it, I went, I'd like it, it's almost there, but I'd like it to look like a hotel bathroom. Because, when you walk into a hotel, have you noticed that you walk into a bathroom, it's always so clean, and you know that they have places where they put everything and that there is a system. And I really gave some thought. How do they keep those bathrooms that clean? That's what I thought. So guess what I did? I researched that. How do hotels clean bathrooms? Because I wanted to know. Because that they go in there every day and they boom. And then I wanted to know, a hotel room has a bedroom and a bathroom. How much time do they spend? Have you ever wondered about that? What is the average amount of time that it takes them to clean a bedroom and bathroom? What do you think? What is your guess? Because I was pretty certain that if I knew that, I would have the answer to part of my problem. And therefore, I'd be able to solve this problem. Let's see what you guys think. How much time do you think it takes them on average? Now, obviously, if it's got a kitchenette area, it takes longer. If it's a repeated stay, it takes less time. But the average amount of time, Jody is saying about 20 minutes, maybe. Jody, they say anywhere from 20 to 35. All right, the gap is in there. Now let me ask all of you. How much time do you spend tidying up and cleaning your bathroom and bedroom every day? Make your bed. Do whatever. And what I realized is I was not spending enough time cleaning those two rooms. Yeah, Jody's saying about 5 minutes. Yes. And so what I did, Jody, and I changed my habit. And let me try and explain this. And I'm hoping this will help some of you feel more in control of your life. You're going to go slower to get a better feeling, all right? Now, my bathroom, if you like, has a shower, a wall-to-wall shower now at this end, okay? That whole of that wall at the back has a shower. When I am in there, I don't leave it until I have totally cleaned it. Yeah, it's part of the ritual. Most of the time, I still have the water running because it's very relaxing. But I have hang on. Yeah. I have one of these little spongy things, and I, washed stuff down, and then the water and steam washes that off. And then when that's finished, I have a big car washing type sponge that I get most of the water off with. And then I have a chamois. I turn the water, by the way, by the time I've got the sponge out, I rinse everything with a sponge. Hang on, yes, right. And then I turn the water off and I get rid of most of the water. I do have a little squeegee, but I found out the sponge does a really good job. But the very last thing I do before I leave the shower is I take the chamois leather and I just go over the shower doors and handles and everything else. So I don't leave the shower until it's clean. I don't shower and walk out of it. It's sort of quite honestly, it adds about maybe 3 minutes to my day. But I want to tell you, one of the things I've noticed, anybody that walks into my bathroom to see the new shower, they go, wow, look at those shower doors. How do you keep them that clean? Do you think that feels good to me? And the answer is, I clean them every time I use them. Okay. So now, when I look at my shower, does it look like a Four Seasons hotel shower? Well, it will do when I've got the right fixtures in it. Yes. Does that bring me pleasure every day? Yes. Okay. So now then, think about this. When you use your toilet for the first time, or when you're getting dressed, when you use your toilet, do you just use it and leave it? Or do you check around there and see if it's clean? All right. Do you take, the magic thing, hang on a second. The magic thing is I take this with me and it has a notepad in it. It has, scrubbing bubbles. It has a duster, an extending one. All right. All right. So it does everything, but it also folds down into next to nothing. So that's useful. There we go. I have some spray stuff and I have cloths. So that is with me in the bathroom. And so when I'm in the process of getting out of the shower, I check and clean around the toilet. Makes sense? It's part of my habit now. You see, what I'm doing is I am walking out of my bathroom backwards. Right? And so the shower looks good. How does the toilet look? Sparkly. That makes me happy. Now, Jodie's saying, my bathroom vanity is a cluttered mess right now, waiting on new bathroom storage cabinet. Yes. So here's the next thing. Don't worry about trying to fix it all. Here is my habit, Jodie. This is why I'm talking about this. I started off with my vanity having way too much stuff on it as well. And the first thing is, what if you had it all in one cubie? All right, rather than all over your vanity. And you could put the cubie on the floor and have a clean vanity until your bathroom vanity, till the bathroom storage cabinet arrives. Would that make your countertop look clear? And I try to remember, what is it that is in on a vanity in a hotel room? Not very much. And so I am working towards, I still haven't got it quite fixed yet, but I am working towards getting that sort of vanity. And the thing is, you need to get into the habit of putting it away somewhere else. At the moment, we put it away on the vanity. This is, where can I put it that would make it more tidy? In a cubie would make it more tidy. because your vanity would be clear. Now, certain things I keep on the vanity. I keep my moisturizer on the vanity because I haven't got room in the drawers for that yet. When they make the drawers bigger, I will. And I keep I keep my, I'm allowed my Kleenex and stuff, right? Because I ask myself, in a hotel, would the Kleenex be there? Yes, it would. But I have it sort of tucked away neatly against the wall. Stuff like that. So, but do you understand, what about, I have another cubie in my bathroom that I put my dirty clothes in. So as I leave my bathroom in the morning, I'm carrying two things. This one, the cleaning one. The other one is the one that's got the dirty clothes in it. But you understand, it's also got a wet face cloth because I had a shower. So before I leave the bathroom area, I go, are there any marks on the floor? And if so, I just literally drop my face cloth, and with my foot, I just make them clean. So when I leave my bathroom, I stand there every morning. I make a habit of it. And I go, that looks good. That looks good, right? And that feels good inside. And for those of you who don't know what it looks like, let me see. I think I've got a picture of it for you. What did I do with it? I had it here a second ago. There we go. I just want to, for those people who might not see what it looks like. All right, so I don't know if you can see that, but, when I leave my bathroom, oh, that's not it. Fat fingers, I hate it when I do that. Okay, hold on a second, people. Okay, so when I get out of my bathroom, I look back and I go, yep, that's looking pretty good. Right? It all looks clean. And I think the extra time I spend to create that must be, quite honestly, about 5 minutes total. Is it worth it for the reward I get? And the answer is, to me, suddenly, yes. Now, all I'm saying is, I'm not asking you to change your total routine. What I'm asking you to think about is, when you go to leave your bathroom, look at it and go, what one thing can I tidy up before I go? Just one. What one thing could I tidy up today before I go? And Jody, it might be picking one thing up off your vanity and finding a new home for it. Because if you do that every day for 5 days or 7 days, you understand by the end of the week, you're going to have a pretty clean bathroom. And sometimes, it may take you a lot longer. My experience is I very rarely just take one thing. Once I put one thing away, I think, I take that and that as well. But I've managed to create the hotel bathroom in, pretty much. And I'm about to get bigger drawers, so it's going to get even better. So then I go to my bedroom. And I think those of you who've seen my bedroom, I wanted to create a hotel type bedroom, right? Which is, again, clean, and not cluttered and stuff like that. Now I'm nearly there. I've still got a bit of clutter on the left-hand side of the bedroom, but it's a work in progress, because every day before I leave, I go, how can I clean that section up one more bit? Do you understand the habit? The habit is not, I've got to totally clean it up. It's before I leave, what one thing can I tidy up here and put in a new place so I don't see it every day? Do you get the idea about the habit? And it is quite amazing to me what a difference it has made. So now, as I leave my bedroom, I look at it. Actually, I can see it from here. So I just stand and I look at it and I go, does that look like a hotel bedroom to you, Sal? And I go, yeah. It's looking pretty good. Oh, by the way, Jody's saying it's a great investment of those few extra minutes. If you don't stop and look at it and go, yeah, that looks good, then there's no point in doing it. You see, I love that moment. And sometimes I found that I stand at the door and I look at it and I go, I've got a bit OCD about it now. I'm going, the quilt is a little too far on one side, and I go back and I change it. Why? Because in a hotel, it would be, they'd have a certain way that it would go. And then I leave the bedroom and I'm working my way through. So by the time I leave the bedroom, I still have the two cubies, right? I still have the one with the cleaning stuff in it, and I still have the one with the dirty laundry. But by now, anything that was in the bedroom that didn't belong in the bedroom is in the second cubie. Does that make sense? If I happen to have had a plate in there or something, it goes in the second cubie. If I find, what else would it be? Oh, my tablet goes in, my phone goes in, right? All those things that don't belong in the bedroom anymore go into the second cubie, and they come with me. And I want you to think about that, because as I work my way through the house, I'm thinking, number one, now this is also important. Number one thing is, how do I get it tidy? All right? Because if I get it tidier, if I get the surfaces clean, keeping it clean will not be nearly as much problem. Now, for those of you who know that, I've got this craft area that's been the unpacking zone, and I've got a studio that still isn't unpacked. But I'm not trying to do it all. Again, my habit is, let me stand in the craft area, and what one thing can I do to tidy it up? And I've nearly got the whole of the worktops sorted now. Because every day I just put away a few more things. Now I've got one cubie as well, that I throw any papers that need to be sorted. I throw them into this one cube, and it's sitting on my my desk in the craft room. But here's the thing: every day before I leave the craft room, I pick up 5 bits of paper, I take a small bundle, and I look at them and I sort them. In other words, they either go in the garbage or no, actually, I don't put them in the garbage. Next point. How many bits of paper do you only use one side of? And I've got to say, this is about, feelings of great accomplishment, because I have learned to recycle a whole lot of paper. In other words, before I throw a piece of paper away, I look at it and go, is there anything on the back of it? And if the back of it is clean, I put it in the pile of papers that I can use for my printer. And that is for what I call the regular printing stuff. It's not going out to anybody. I want a recipe, or I need something for my accounts or something. I need to print something out. That is the paper I use. And I just put a line through the side I don't want. and think about how much paper I save, how much money I save. And it is just like I've got this growing pile next to my printer that anytime I want to print something, I can just drop in a used bit of paper. So by the time I get to the laundry room, but as I pass the guest bathroom, I flush the toilet. Yeah, I check in there just to make sure everything's fine, but I flush the toilet. Why? If I don't regularly flush the toilet, do you understand I'm going to have a ring and all sorts of things? So once a day, as I go past there, I flush my guest toilet. Little habits that are making so much difference. By the time I get to the laundry, I can take, by the way, when I'm in the craft room, I go, is there anything in my bin here the second bin that needs to be in the craft room? No? Okay, fine. Then everything moves to the laundry room. I take out the dirty laundry, but then I look in the laundry room. Is there anything in the laundry room that doesn't belong here? If so, it goes into the second cubie. And I go, before I leave the laundry room, by the way, I'm throwing stuff, in wherever it needs to go, but is there any one thing I can do to tidy up the laundry room? Just one thing. And it can be as small. Yesterday, it was, I think I can move, I've got 3 containers of, is it TSP, pretty heavy duty cleaner. And I'm going, I don't use that more than once or twice a year. Grab the stepladder and put it way up top in my laundry room and cleared a whole lot of space above my washer dryer. Again, took me maybe a minute to do that, but created a cleaner environment in my laundry room. So do you get the idea that the changes are minimal, but they're on a daily basis? All I am doing is every day looking at every room and going, what one thing can I do? Now, you might or might not have noticed that we're getting less stuff cluttering up my kitchen. Now, it will grow again in the winter because, I will bring plants in to keep them alive during the winter. But it's time for these to go outside. It's really, I've now got a really nice nursery going and I'm working on that. But, it's like they can all go outside now. I don't need them in the house. And I'm pretty sure that some of you will want to know how my indoor garden is going. So let me quickly take a picture. Hang on one second. Oops. And it actually is quite surprising. To me. One day I will press the right buttons. How well that is growing. And by the way, the reason I'm mentioning it is because every day it brings me pleasure. And that is the point, which is what brings you pleasure. Hold on a second. Let me see here. I don't know if you can see this because the contrast might be wrong, but can you see how all that is growing so nicely now? It's doing a great job. I've got to the stage now where I'm going to have to start using the basil, the dill. I'm going to start looking for what can I use the dill with, right? But it really is, and the kale is growing, so that is really awesome. Very happy with it. Does look fantastic, but now most of it is outside. But I was doing this experiment ready for the winter, as you know. All right, so every day I'm looking at it as well. What can I learn? And now what will I want for the winter? And I will keep a lot of it in my greenhouse window, but I will start the stuff here with the little thing. But I'm hoping you can see that it is this little step every day that is making the difference. How did I go? That was the question. How did I go from 2,000 steps a day? How did I go from 2,000 steps a day to doing 10,000 steps a day? I didn't do it in a day. I just quietly kept saying, okay, if I do 2,000, maybe I can do 2,500. And then when I got into the habit of doing 2,500, then I started doing 3. And then, and now what I noticed was yesterday, I was busy as a bee. Here's another trick I found. You want to increase your steps every day? Don't sit down. I've got to say that I found that if I sit down, I think I ought to answer an email or whatever. It'll be an hour before I get back up again. Do any of you find that? And I feel that I've been productive, but the truth is I haven't. I basically have been distracted by Facebook. I've been distracted by Instagram. I've been distracted by this, that, and the other. I sit down in the morning and have my morning coffee and do the important things on my computer. And after that, I only sit down to eat. No, that's not totally true. Yeah, it is actually. I sit down because it is, I need to get off my feet for some reason. But by not sitting down like I used to and spend my time on my chair, I have increased my steps from 6,000 a day to 10,000. Does that make sense? And what I want you to be aware of is the habit of sitting at your computer and how much time you spend every day looking at that screen. I want you to be aware of how much time, and if you are honest with yourself, how much of that time is productive and how much of it is you just got distracted by another video, another link, another whatever. And if you do sit down, I would recommend that you do what I do, which is, okay, I need to sit down now because I've got to write a letter or something, right? And what I do is I set an alarm that says, half an hour from now, you need to get off your butt. Yeah, Jody's saying, I wish I could do that. It's not an option right now, but I do try to be as productive as I can every day. Yes, I understand that, Jody. Again, don't do the all or nothing thing. All right? If you are aware of what I'm talking about and why it makes sense, and think about how much time in your day is actually wasted sitting at the computer. I'm not saying you shouldn't sit if you can't walk. What I'm saying is think about how much time is wasted. And I am horrified. I was horrified how much of my day I wasn't doing the things I wanted to do. I was being distracted. They're good at distracting you, aren't they? And so the thing I've changed is their control over my time. Does that make sense? Yes, Jody, that's excellent. You set an alarm to get up and move for 10 minutes every hour. That is smart. And you could actually work towards reversing that, once you're getting healthy again. Say, I only get to sit for 10 minutes of every hour. All right. And then maybe I only get to sit 10 minutes. That's your goal. It might take you 2 years to get to it. To 10 minutes in every 2 hours. And you see, this is what the little changes that can change your life. I think you all know I have a set way that I should not have done that to myself. Okay. But I know I know what that should look like to me. All right. And I know that that area there, right there, needs some attention. Right? I know that this area now needs some more attention, right? Oh, and by the way, I make sure that every day I go out to my garden. And this is that Lady Gardener rose that I got last year. Isn't it beautiful? Now, it was much more pink than that. It starts really a pinky peach and then turns almost into a white as it starts to die off. But isn't that beautiful? Yeah, and Kimmy, I'm delighted to hear that you were out walking. And here is the thing. Give yourself, I just say, can I go outside and walk for 5 minutes a day? Okay? Right. Wow. Kimmy's saying, I got it down to 30 this morning, and next week it's going into the upper 90s. Okay, so that means that you need to perhaps walk, the temperature got down to 30 this morning, right? And next week it's going into high 90s. So here is the thing. Doesn't mean you can't walk. It means you need to be aware of what the temperature is doing. One of the things I do as part of my routine now, Kimmy, before I go to bed, I check what the weather is going to be like the next day. Why? It sets me up to know I better walk either very early or late in the afternoon. If it's going to be hot. All right. I don't have to walk when it's hot. I may look at it and go, well, it looks like I'm going to be wearing my sweats because it's a rainy day. It's not that I'm not going to walk. And by the way, I also have a thing with myself, which is if I reach 5 o'clock and I'm sort of up to my step count, I don't even bother to go walking. If I've been that active that I've got my steps in, my goal steps in for the day, I don't necessarily need to go for a walk. But yesterday I knew I'd done enough steps, but I still wanted to go for a walk, and I ended up doing over 11,000 steps yesterday. So, but we know I didn't do that by accident, right? I keep changing the habit. Now then, here's another little thing I found out. Have any of you ever wondered, how do I put the broadcast together? How do I get the time? How do I do that, right? What I do, and I thought, I'd share that with you because it's a habit that I do, right? On Wednesday night, I normally decide the topic that I want to talk about during the weekend. That's, when I lie in bed, I think, what would be something that I could talk about that I've got material on from my life that also will help other people. And, for example, this week I was thinking, multitasking is a good one. And also the updates on what's happened in the house. But I realized that all fitted in with the habit changes as well. And so I thought, okay, I understand the framework of what I want to do. Now, on Thursday, when I do the big cleanup as I go around, do you know that I am writing the framework for the broadcast the whole time? I've got my tablet with me and my phone, and just ideas keep coming to me, and I just will jot them down, either on my tablet or on my phone or whatever, and I just keep, oh yeah, that's a good point. I need to talk about that. And then I will be cleaning in somewhere else. And I think, oh yeah, I need to do that. Then I'll add that in. And by the time I finished Thursday, I have enough material for the weekend. What do you think about that? So I don't consciously sit down and write the broadcast in I come up with the framework of what I want to talk about, and then I fill in what I want to add to it. So if anybody's got a problem that you'd like to talk about, please let us know, or please tell me right now. And in the meantime, I wanted to give you what they call the paperclip idea. This is a really interesting story that I heard about. And it's a story about a guy who does sales. And what he did is every morning he put 150 paper clips into one jar on one side of his desk, and he had an empty jar on the other side. And every sales call he made, he took one paper clip and put it into the other jar. And his goal every day was to empty the jar full of paper clips and fill up the other one. Now, what he understood was sales isn't about just making one call or two. It's making enough calls to be able to get a sale. And by the way, he turned out to be a huge success in the business he was in. So let's say you're trying to change that habit, Jody, of your countertop. And you might have, 7 marbles or 7 paper clips, whatever you think of. And you go, every time I tidy up one thing, I'm going to move that into the other jar. Do you get the idea? Just so that you can physically remind yourself you accomplished something. And, maybe your goal, we were saying maybe you want to downsize, as I am doing. And we said if you put one thing a day into your recycling box or bag or whatever, and did that every day, you'd get rid of 365 things out of your house this year. What if you had the jar? Yeah, Jody's saying that's where my marbles went, into the jar. Yeah. But did you get the idea? It's about reward yourself by seeing that you have done something about it. Now, some of you like checklists, and maybe you just want to have something up on the fridge where you can make a check mark and go, did I do something about this today? I've got another thing that I want you to think about. You understand what I was saying about cleaning the bathroom and bedroom and doing one little thing in every room every day. Do you realize that I don't have to worry about finding time to clean the house anymore? Does that make sense? I don't have to consciously think about, I better dust everywhere, or I better do whatever. Why? It's becoming part of the routine. For example, I multitask when I sit on my toilet. I've got to tell you that. And I would like you to think for a second, how many things could you multitask while you sit on the toilet? I plan on the toilet. I look to see what still needs to be done in the bathroom when I'm there. And by the way, I noticed that the one baseboard in my bathroom needed a dust. And I went, if the baseboard in the bathroom needs a dust, then the chances are that every baseboard in my house needs a dust. So this week, as I go through, I will do each of the baseboards. Yes, and Kimmy, that's what we've been talking about. Pick up and clean as you go in each room. It's wonderful. And by the way, the famous QB box that I put stuff in as I'm moving from room to room, by the time I get to the kitchen, living room area, it's empty. But then I start filling it up again. Does that make sense? Because I'll go around the kitchen, dining room, and everything else, and I go, is there anything in this area that belongs in the back of the house? In which case it goes back into that same QB, which sits sort of halfway down my house. And all day, anything that I find that's this end of the house, I'm putting into there, so that as I go back by tomorrow, that will all be in the back of the house where it belongs. So I actually want you to think about multitasking. Example, yesterday I was about to go and, I'd been doing stuff and I was about to go and get showered and everything. And I thought, what could be working while I am showering? And it was, I need to make some bread. So I put everything I needed and made the dough while I was showering and putting on my makeup. By the time I came out, I pulsed it a couple of times, and my bread dough was, doing very nicely. Thank you. When I am getting my makeup on to do a broadcast, I make sure that my Keurig is all set up to make my coffee, and that that foam machine right there is loaded and has already made the foam once. So that when I come to make my coffee to do the broadcast, I just press that foamer just to whip it up a little bit more before I put it onto my coffee. You know what I mean? I got a routine that works. But it's all a work in progress. Now, how many of you remember the horror story last week with the run-in with my neighbor? And what I decided to do was to use it as a positive. What kind of air fryer? You're not looking at an air fryer. I have the Big Boss one. The what's it called? The Halogen I use. I have a halogen oven that I use as an air fryer and as a convection. And I certainly love it. It's huge. It does, it cooks food from frozen to ready for the table in 2 hours. I want to tell you, I will not have a small air fryer type thing. My big halogen is worth the space it takes up in my cupboard, in my view. Don't use it all the time, but I use it enough. And when I use it, I'm always grateful for it. Now, I just wanted to give you an example of this, take a moment to decide what's the next step. That black machine there is my Keurig coffee maker. Is that the one you're talking about, Kimmy? That's my coffee maker. Yeah. So here's an example of what I did yesterday. When I turned around and looked at my shower area, I thought, all those cleaning products, the chamois, the sponge, and so forth, they look, or even though they're on that bench that I made, you remember I made that bench for my shower, it's beginning to look a little cluttered. So I go, I stood there, right? What could I do to tidy that up? And I stood there and looked at it and I thought, a plastic shoebox would work. It would allow the stuff to dry, right? Because it's open at the top. And it would, if stuff dripped in it, it would be fine. And it would contain everything and it wouldn't look bad when you look at it. And so I went on a hunt for an empty shoebox, and everything got put in there. And guess what? It works. So what you're looking at is just a clear shoebox. You can't see all the bits that are in it. So one step made all the difference. All right. Now, a lot of people have talked to me about the fact, my phone battery died or my watch battery died. Who's got that problem? Any of you? That you constantly have a problem because your watch is not charged or your phone is not charged, or maybe your tablet is not charged. So here is what I want to ask you. What habit would help you get that sorted out? It's a habit that you might want to get into. For example, when I sit down for my morning cup of coffee, I know that is the longest sit down that I do. All right. It's normally an hour to get through that first cup of coffee. So what I do is I sit down, I take off my watch and I connect it. Right. And then I start doing all the stuff that I do on the computer. I do my blood sugar, I do all those sort of things. But you understand, my watch is charging while I do that. Whenever I shower, I connect my watch while I'm showering. And between those two things, my watch does not run out of battery. I got into the habit of getting my phone does not, it has a particular charger to it. And I only had one, and I was forever trying to, run around the house to try and get it charged. I now have 3, one in the bedroom, one at my desk, and one here in the kitchen. And whenever I am working in that room, for example, I don't mean just quickly popping in and out again, but if I'm cooking, I plug in my phone while I'm cooking. If I am working at the computer, I plug in my phone. If I'm in the bedroom or bathroom, I've got a long lead there. I can plug it in next to the bed, but that phone can also, that lead is long enough to go to my bathroom as well. All right. And so it is just like I'm in the habit of doing it now. Does that make sense to anybody? The reason it runs out is you are not charging it enough. You are not charging it often enough. So therefore, you need to change the habit about getting it charged, or run the risk of it constantly. And you got to think about that. How do you feel when your phone runs out of battery? How do you feel when your watch dies on you? Is it a good feeling? You see, that's what the thing about this habit thing is all about. It's like, I don't think about, is my watch charged or not? Because I'm pretty sure it is. Let me see, how's it doing today? Remembering I have not charged it yet today, right? I'm on 51%. So between the broadcasts, I'm going to be sitting down and working on tonight's broadcast, which means it will be plugged in. Do you understand? It's just like, it's part of my day to charge my appliance, my devices. It is part of my routine. So how about feelings of frustration? Did any of you get any feelings of frustration this week? The interesting thing for me was that I was about to tell you about the story about that. You remember the run-in with my neighbor last week. I decided that, as frustrating as all of that was, to use all that energy up for a positive use. And what I did is I worked like a banshee on my deck all week. I have 1 hour that I spend on my garden stroke deck every day. That's part of my exercise program. It is part of my cleanup, my life program. It's like, it's my 1 hour of get out and get fresh air, even if I'm just working on the deck, because that's fresh air. If it's pouring with rain, I can still do stuff on the deck. So I literally spent the week tidying up my deck. I dropped the blinds that have never been dropped so long as I've been here. So now the neighbor cannot see my deck, what's on my deck. I am busy filling in the rest of the deck. And I came up with this great idea, which I will show you probably this evening. But, this is like, every day I walked out there, what one thing can I do to tidy this up? What one thing can I do to do this? What one thing can I do here? And I kept doing it. And I've got a whole lot of crud, but every day I am tidying a bit more of it up. And I'm down to nearly having the deck clear, and I'll take a picture of it so you can see. But it's just like, it is amazing to me how much I got done this week. It was all about, if I hadn't had the run-in with the neighbor, I wouldn't have done the work that I have done, both on the deck and outside. So I'm actually very grateful that she decided to have a little snit, because it helped me. And by the way, I realize that she's probably looking at all the stuff in my carport, and I got a lot of the broken down boxes and everything, waiting for the restoration people to remove it all. And I know that she looks onto that every day. So I put a notice up against one of the big boxes there and just sent her a note. I literally wrote a note and stuck it on the box because I know she can see it, and said, just to let you know, all this will go on Wednesday. The restoration people apologize, and all this is going on Wednesday. So this is like, I know that she looks out of that window. So if I want to communicate nice things, and I did say thank you for your patience. So we will see. So I'm very excited that my carport's going to be clean by the next time we do next weekend. I'm very excited about that. So no frustration this week? I don't think I hit any frustration this week. I could be wrong, but I can't remember. Oh, I did damage. Can you see? And I noticed I bruised both sides. So it must have been, I think I was carrying something that must have been heavy. But again, I thought, what could I do? And I thought I might demonstrate those two concealers that I got. Because would you agree that, hang on a second, that, can I cover that up? And can I cover that up? So let's see. This one, first one, is the e.l.f. I'm not getting paid, just out of interest. So this is the e.l.f. one, and it has an applicator like that. And I'm just going to put that on there. Oh, apparently. Yeah. And then this concealer is the Maybelline Age Rewind. And that's on there. Now, you will know that this bruise was much darker and heavier than this one, but just so that you can see the difference. Okay, so this is the, I'm sorry that didn't blend in very well. Okay, but this is the e.l.f. and this is the Maybelline. So it's covered pretty well. But what I like is the skin tone color is better here with the Maybelline one. This one is a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is probably think about mixing this with a little bit of moisturizer to bring that color tone down a bit. Anyway, so I thought I'd just show you that. Any feelings of love or grief this week that you would like to talk about? Jody, it must be getting very close. I mean, may I talk about what you decided to do about the meal replacement stuff? Because I love how you're thinking. Oh, I know where I had some frustration. Okay, Jody, I'll get back to it. I had some frustration because I kept cooking bread and the inside was not properly cooked. And I don't know what's wrong. It's just like, really? Why does that keep happening? And so what I decided was to I'm always a great believer. I've got the answer to this somewhere. The problem with bread is you can't tell if it's okay until you cut it. And then it's too late. It's already out of the oven and everything else. So I decided to actually cook my bread with a thermometer in it. And what I did, the research to find out, is that the internal temperature should be about 190 degrees. Well, do you know something? I did it to 190 and it still wasn't cooked inside. It was nearly cooked inside, but not quite. And so now, but it did a good job. But as you can probably see, it really did a good job on the crust, but just still under. So I'm going to take it to 200 now. And I'm going to cook with a thermometer in my bread because I've had enough of it not being consistent. And it doesn't matter how, oh, and by the way, it took way longer than I would. I normally put it in for about 40 minutes, and it took over an hour to get it to that. Now, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my toaster oven is not doing its job. So that might be the reason that I'm having a problem. That maybe the toaster oven isn't coming up to the right temperature. That'll be my experiment this week. I'll put the thermometer in and put the temperature up and see if they agree. That would be a good thing. So in other words, I'm putting the heat way up, but it's not happening. There's got to be a nice answer for that. So Jody is getting closer, ever closer to having her bypass surgery, her stomach bypass surgery. And just before she goes in for the operation, she needs to have, I think it's 2 weeks, Jody, where she literally has nothing but liquid food. Now, she told me some stuff that I felt educated when she told me, because I didn't know that. Part of what that 2 weeks of liquid diet does is it shrinks your liver. Is that right, Jody? Liver or your, yeah, it must be your liver. Now, that is interesting to me. And the first thing is, it's interesting to me that you can survive on a liquid diet for 2 weeks, as long as you have the right supplements and the right proteins. And I think that's pretty interesting. But what Jody decided was that she's going to start, having those liquid days now. Not all of them, not nonstop, but just start putting them in so her body can start adjusting. So that when she goes to shakes only, that she's already halfway there, which I think is very clever, Jody. And that's called being prepared, not scared, right? It's not going to be a huge change for you. It's going to be a different one. It's a bit like, deciding I'm going to eat roughly the same thing every day until I can get my blood sugar under control, all right? Or whatever else it is. It's about, we can make these little games with ourselves and help ourselves. Very clever. Did anybody get angry this week? I felt really good about the fact that even, I said I thought I was probably going to end up with a letter from the management saying that they'd had a complaint about me, about my plastic. And I knew they were going to have an issue with my carport. So I just went, I am so glad. You see, if I get the letter now, I'm already prepared, right? I can turn around and go, hey, it's all being removed on Wednesday. The restoration people apologize to you for the mess and thank you for your patience. It's going. Yes, Jodie's making a very good point, right? She says, I really want to give this 110% because I feel blessed to have the opportunity. Yes, Jodie, and now I'm pretty sure you feel doubly blessed that not only do you have the opportunity, but it's being paid for. All right? And, that is the whole thing, right? But again, look how you've done this one step at a time. Look how incredible your progress has been. Did anybody have any feelings of joy this week? I definitely am starting to feel joy around my house. It's getting there. And, I'm also letting go a little bit. For example, everybody's gardens are looking wonderful and mine is just sort of okay. But I'm letting go of my need to have a beautiful garden outside for the neighbors this year. That's not a thing. It's like I am busy concentrating on learning how to grow my vegetables this year. And so I was sort of looking at it and going, everybody else has got beautiful hanging baskets of flowers. I am busy with lots of containers of vegetables. And, that's my right. Yeah, and Jodie's saying that she wouldn't be able to do this without the insurance coverage, right? The cost would be astronomical. Yeah, absolutely. And so be grateful that you have that coverage. I want to just remind you all that what is important is what you do to make you happy. But as we learned last week, as long as it doesn't affect other people. So what I'm looking at now is not just that I am growing vegetables and salads and stuff. It is, how can I do it in a pretty way? That is my next little experiment. Now, what I do, I'm enclosing my deck so that people can't see into it. Because as far as I'm concerned, what I'm doing on my deck is my business, not yours. But I can make it pretty. And by the way, one sure way to make sure that it's going to be pretty is I actually invited somebody over. You know what I mean? It's my trick. If I want to clean up my dining room, I would invite somebody over. That's what I did. When I wanted to clean up my dining room, I literally invited somebody over, part of my pod over to eat with me. So that way I knew I would tidy up the dining room. It's like a game I play with myself. Did anybody feel confused this week? I don't think I did. I had a moment this week where I did feel pretty stupid. My neighbor has a handyman person that comes over and does things, at a fair price. And I need a couple of things done, and I'm going to sort of put them all together and have that person come in for maybe half a day or something. And I asked her for the contact information on that person. And then that night I cleared up my screenshots and things and nuked it. I felt so stupid. So now I've got to ask for it back again. But, it's called being human, right? And feelings of sadness. Anybody, we heard Jenny has had sadness this week. Anybody else have a feeling of sadness this week? While you're answering that, I wanted to let you know that I did have great joy this week that I didn't mention. And that is, I had a neighbor come over. One of my other neighbors came over and shared some stuff with me that was pretty surprising. And I got to sit with her and talk to her and I believe help her And I could see by the way that she was reacting that it was helping her. And then the next day she wrote to me to tell me what she had achieved and how happy she was. And I said, somewhere in the conversation, I said something like, I often wonder why I needed to come here to this community. But apparently I did, because I'm here. And when she wrote to me, she said, I think I know why you needed to come here. Isn't that cute? So what I wanted to tell you is that sometimes we don't know the reasons why things happen. And we can be confused by it. And why did I come and almost immediately my house burned? Think of what I've learned in the last year. And think of how many neighbors I found actually did care about me because of the fire, and those sort of things. So you look at it and go, sometimes, life unfolds in some very interesting ways if we think about it. And look at the run-in with my neighbor last week, right? Triggered me. I had a lot of problems with it. And yet I didn't lose control. I didn't lose control. And that sort of went, wow, I think I'm getting a little more aware of not letting other people control who I am. And I, decided to use that energy to good use instead of festering about it and feeling nasty. By the way, I did call people that I care about greatly and said, okay, this is what happened. If it happened to you, how would you deal with it? Because I'm always interested in more information. And, and it was interesting how one of them said to me, Sal, when I met you 20 years ago, your answer would have consisted of 2 words, and they would have meant go away. And I said, that's true. They said, I miss that lady. So Jody's saying, I did have feelings of sadness. And I apologize for bringing up the surgery again. Why, Jody? Why do you need to apologize for that? It's your life at the moment. She said, I'm sad that I have not always taken care of my body that it deserved. How helpful is that, Jody? And she's saying, I'm mourning the years that I've lost and realize that time is gone forever. But it is what I do going forward that matters now. All right, so Jody, seriously. Is feeling bad about what you didn't do going to improve your life? Right? Or not? Feeling bad about yourself. Does it improve your life? So my attitude is, why waste your time grieving it? Of course you're angry at your younger self, but what good is it doing you? Think what it's doing to your body. When you keep beating up on yourself, what is that doing to your body? I can sit all day long and say I regret what I did in smoking or for most of my life. But I don't. Why? I needed that at that time in my life, right? For whatever reason. I don't do it anymore. So I don't, and I'm grateful to have survived. So I don't spend my time beating up on myself because of what I did before I knew better. Yeah, Jody saying, I totally agree. It's causing stress and that's not good for my blood pressure. It is no wonder that your blood pressure has an issue. If you spend your time beating up on stuff you have no control over, well, what's the point? I would spend that time going, yeah, well, that is what it was. Now then, what am I going to do? What wardrobe do I want next? Because I'm going to have a new one. I'd be planning that wardrobe. How long do they think it'll be before that happens? Does it take 6 months or what it is? Yeah, Kimmy's saying that's what I say. It will make you sick and older than you already were. And Jody's saying, I'm so thankful for you, Sal. Yeah, well, hello. I'm pretty thankful for you too, Jody. So, I look at it and go, if you want to beat up on yourself every day, that's your right. Somebody said to me this week, somebody I was helping said to me this week, you don't have to check up on me. I'm not going to be suicidal. I said, I'm not going to check up on you. I consider you to be a smart person. Therefore, after we've had this conversation, I'm getting on with my life. And, I may check in as a friend, but, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to be worrying whether, you understand, I don't do that. Right, so Jody's saying it's going to take about 18 months to 2 years. So that is, in a way, that means you're going to have a series of new wardrobes. Right? Because you're going to go from whatever size you are now, probably drop a size maybe within a season. Oh, that's fun. So you can get new clothes every season. Now then, have you thought about how you're going to get new clothes on your budget? All right. And yeah, lots of fun shopping, Joe. And, maybe some trips with, to the local thrift stores or whatever to see what you can pick up that will work, for the downsizing. I wouldn't be spending, do a lot of thrift shopping because that those clothes are not going to last you. I would actually think about that very sincerely, because if you're thinking about getting one size smaller or 2 sizes smaller, you're going to go down. What do they reckon? How many sizes do they think that you will go down? Yeah, Kimmy's saying, I'm trying to stop doing that to myself as well. I realized how sick I got, and I'm learning to quit beating up on myself. Can you imagine the damage you do to yourself? It is not your job to beat up on yourself. You are your own best friend. Remember those words from Helen Reddy. Would you be kinder to yourself, and would you be more forgiving of your human imperfection if you realized your best friend is yourself? For who is with you everywhere, and who is on your side when others are unfair? And tell me, who will never let you down in any situation, who will always see you get your share. And that's why I'm the best friend for myself. And I take me out whenever I feel low. Have I made myself as happy as a best friend would? Yes. I'm as nice to me as anyone I know. Get it? If we are not nice to ourselves, then we are damaging our bodies. If we are not generous to ourselves, then we are beating up. If we are full of, well, I should haves, all that negative energy is going through our body. I am doing everything I can in my life right now so that I walk into my kitchen and smile, not beat up on myself. But I can smile and go, that's looking pretty it's nearly ready now. Oh, what one thing can I tidy up one more time? All right. And then, it's just like I'm not beating up on myself. I had to ditch the whole of my plan for this week to get all that deck stuff sorted out and plan the next stage. I cannot afford to do everything that I want to do, but I am resourceful. And I'm going to show you, once I've got it constructed, I'm going to show you what I've decided to do, because plan B. And so, but I had to let go of all the things I wanted to do this week. Well, hello, I can do that. I'm flexible. And nobody's got a gun to my head that I have to do it by this week. All right? One step at a time. Just keep taking one more step at a time. Don't try and do it all. Remember my bathroom. What would a hotel bathroom look like? Can I achieve it? And if so, what one step can I take towards it today? And I do the same in my bedroom. I'm now busy working in my craft room. And it's amazing. That's a big one. But, on Saturday, tomorrow, I will go into the studio and I will unpack probably 2 boxes again. Because, it's time to unpack some more in there. So, you look at it and you go, I can't unpack too much because I don't have anywhere to put it. So it's better in the boxes than not in boxes. But here's the other thing. I've got half-filled boxes in there with categories, stuff from my kitchen or whatever. Now I'm looking at where am I going to put those because I want to get rid of that box. And I've got to decide, do I want to junk all this plastic again or do I want to utilize it? What am I going to do with all this stuff? All right. Now, do you guys want to laugh? Hang on a second. I want you to see how heavy this is. Okay. This is how I unpack, all right? When I start unpacking, I find little containers and I go, okay, so that is a so-and-so. So I'm going to have a little category area here and I've got this little container. If that container starts to fill up, I get a bigger container for that category. So I started with about 3 little boxes like this, with markers and one for pencils and one for pens. Make sense? But as I've been unpacking, I have collected nearly a cubie full of pens, markers, highlighters, and pencils. Amazing. And I haven't finished it. But you understand that it got so bad this week that I had to move from the container they were in, which was a small box or a couple of small boxes, into a complete cubie because I had that many. Now there's part of me going, what am I going to do with these? I obviously don't need that many. And I've got things like tapes for my voice recorder thing. Yeah, that's going in the garbage. And brand new. And of course, there's part of me that goes, but maybe you can find the voice recorder. I'm going, Sal, that was from 20 years ago. Throw it away. Nobody's going to want it. But that is why I like. Jody's saying I've been in the craft room, but seriously, Jody, how many pens, pencils, and markers do I need? My next task is to sort these back out into pens, markers, and only after I finished unpacking everything. Makes sense. I'm gonna keep having that in the craft room as a cubie, and keep filling it up until I've totally unpacked. And then I will, eventually get to this. In the meantime, I know where all the pens, pencils, and things are, and markers, right? But it was just like, Can you believe how many I've got? All right, so Jody's saying I have the same thing, about 5 sets of markers. Well, 5 sets are good, but how many of them work? And do you know how to refill markers? This is like time for us to think about these things. So the whole thing is, I'm not the only one, I know that. That's why I'm saying it. But who would have thought that in a lifetime and moving 2 houses, each time I unpack a box, I will find another pen or another marker or whatever, and it just goes in here now. Oh, you got thin Sharpies and thick Sharpies, and then every color of each type. Yes. The other thing that I have, hang on a second. There are times when I wonder about myself, feelings of great amusement, I think would have to go under, which is like, I haven't got enough. I also have a whole separate thing with gel pens in it of different colors. And then, it's just like, and then refills for them. And when do I use them? For my art, for signing artwork. So is that important? Yes, but you know what I just realized? I got a box for it now. And that just opened up more space in my living room. So you get the idea. I have at the moment one full box that is all office stuff. It's probably got more pens in it. All right. And so what I'm going to do now is go through it, because I know now I've got a QB for pens and pencils and stuff, and just literally do the same thing. Take anything out of there that's pens and pencils. The other thing I found, do any of you relate to this one? Post-it notes. Apparently, I like to collect them. I think because I have them and then I lose them. So I buy more. But boy, do I have a collection. But now I've got a place where I'm putting them. So this time, what is it that Beth says? She's learning to shop from home. So what I want to do is just build this up, keep filling it up until it's all done, and then decide how much do I want to keep. And then what am I going to do with the rest? What am I going to do with the rest? This part of me goes, maybe I should give them to Dougie next time he goes back to Kenya for all the kids that can't afford pens and pencils. Okay, of course, while I'm talking about this, I realize I got more pens and pencils here. Oh, I could get so much out of this cupboard just to go in there now. So excited. Yes, Jody's saying I could fill orders at Target with my Post-its. Yeah. So, it's just like, but it is amusing. But what I'm going to do is, I haven't got to my office stuff yet. But again, I've got it all, sort of basically in 2 boxes. So if I need anything that's office related, I know I just need to go to those boxes, which is good until I get a chance to sort it all out. But as I said, it's amazing how it's adding up. But that's what I call the second go through. The first one is get it all unpacked and roughly put away, all right, into categories. And then the second for the rest of my life is to unpack it again and downsize it to what is workable. So I'm glad you understand. Well, everybody, I hope that you understand that our daily habits affect our daily stress. Our daily habits affect the way we feel. I don't have to go out and walk today, but I do know that if I do, I will feel better about myself. Not only will I feel better about myself, I know that my body will feel better. I know that if I don't bother to do it, and I have 1,001 reasons not to, that I will pay the price for it. And as Jody so rightly said, you can't buy that time back again. So I can make a choice. Do I want to get into the habit of walking I literally have a 0.6 of a mile loop that I do. And if I do nothing else, that's the one I do. I don't have to do more. Sometimes I just add a bit on because I'm feeling good while I'm doing it. But if I'm busy with other stuff, I just go, okay, as long as you've done that, that's good. You got your body moving. Jody, was one of the challenges that I said to you, I think about it. If your daily challenge is to get to the front door and out into the fresh air, regardless of the weather, and just spend 5 minutes there and then come back again, that takes a lot of discipline, a lot of concentration, and a lot of whatever. And maybe you start just 1 minute. But, it's about getting that discipline in to say, I can do this, but I need to do it for the right reason. I need to do it because I know it is good for me. And that when I've done it, I am going to feel good about myself. And I know that I have 1,001 reasons not to do it. I am sore. It is raining. It'll mess up my hair. I haven't got my makeup on. 1,001 good excuses. Or you can just say, I don't care. I'm going to go and get some fresh air. And I don't mean standing at the window. I'm going to make the effort to go and get some fresh air and just see what the world looks like. Because I'm going to be joining that world. And I want to make sure I know what it feels like. And I want to get a sense of it again. Wow, Jody, I'm so proud of you. Jody saying, Sal, I went to the lab with no makeup and survived. Well done. Oh, hi, Kez. Kez is saying hi. I have a huge collection of different types of pens, coloring pens, crayons. And when I sorted them out early this year, I found a lot of pens have gone dry and I wasted money. Yeah, of course. Hi, Jeannie. Wow, you've just got back from the surgery and you immediately came on? Well, we're so happy for you. Thank you. I'll put up thoughts and prayers afterwards to let people know. Well done. Feeling fine, successful surgery, but tired. Of course you're tired. And the other thing is this, Jenny, understand that you do need to rest, regardless if you feel fine. I would suggest rest for at least 3 days. Your body has been invaded. And it isn't that you're lazy or stupid. It's your body has been invaded. So take it easy. Don't mess too much, right? Don't lift things. Don't lift anything heavy. Anesthetic does exhaust people, yes. And the other thing is this, that, as the anesthetic comes out of your body, you're going to feel pain. Yeah, day 3 is the worst battle. Yeah, because all the anesthetic is gone by day 3. So take it easy. And but we're so happy for you. What a wonderful bit of news. That is awesome. Great timing. Wow. The doctor said to York that he got many big stones. All right, and you've got to stand in it, and it stings. Yes. Ow. But you know something? Probably less painful than the stones would have been. So, good job. I'm happy for you. Well, you take those meds, and I know you're not a lazy person, Jeannie. You know what I mean? I know you're a doer. And I know that you are always doing things for other people. But may I make a suggestion to you? This might be the week for you to say, what can I binge watch? You know, maybe you start the Game of Thrones or something, you know what I mean? Something that's got lots of seasons to it. And give yourself permission to just do that. And that it's okay. And you don't have to entertain anybody, and you don't have to cook for anybody, and you don't have to do anything except get better. Is that within a possibility? And if that you spend at least 4 hours a day doing that, at least, knowing that you are then lying down, hopefully, or at least sitting comfortably. The Good Doctor, there you go. All right. So something, it doesn't matter what it is. I actually personally haven't watched the Game of Thrones, but, it's about, it is about, don't see it as being lazy. Right? You go, I'm going to watch The Good Doctor now because it will be good for my recovery. Do you understand the different mentality? This is my rest time. I am going to rest now. Yes, let yourself be pampered the way that you pamper others. There you go. So anyway, we're delighted to hear that you're okay. I need to get out of here, so here we go. Everybody, thank you for being here. Jeannie, happy that you are well. And take it easy. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember this, please. Taking a small new habit can change your life. It can change your environment. It can change your body. It can change everything. One small habit change can make a huge difference. It can take you from 2,000 steps a day to 10,000 in one season. It can take you from a messy bathroom to a hotel bathroom. Just one small habit can do that. This is DearMamaSal saying, thanks for being here. As usual, we'll see you this evening when we will continue this journey. Bye-bye for now.